And welcome to our community. Susie Thomas with you this morning. Happy to welcome Karen Shackelford. She is from JRC. Good morning.
Good morning, Susie. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's a wonderful to have you. And JRC used to stand for things, but now it just goes for JRC, right?
Yes, we were formerly J.R. Coleman. Been around for 45 years, and about 6 years ago we rebranded, and now we are JRC. We were sort of being confused with some of the other Coleman agencies, so now we're just a simple JRC. For 40 years, we've been doing early education for children ages 6 weeks through preschool. And we have services for school-age children before and after school and in the summertime. And our seniors get engaging activities and just things that will keep them independent as long as possible in our JRC Adult Day Center.
So I want to head back to just the initials again. Being a marketing gal, I'm always curious, do you have some challenges when you just go by initials, getting it emblazoned in people's minds what you are and what you do?
Yes.
Okay, so
Very
that's
simply.
That is why you're here, so that we can make sure that when people hear JRC, they think children and older adults.
That's right. Yes, that's exactly who we are and who we serve. And we, like I said, we are formerly J.R. Coleman, and now we're JRC. So.
JRC. So say it 10 times and get it in your head that that's who they are now.
That's right.
So let's start on one end of the spectrum. Let's start with children. They've got all kinds of wonderful activities for them, but it's not easy to be recognized as you are when they are looking at preschools and when those people with the powers that be come through and they do a little bit of evaluation. You always come out on top. Tell me why. What is there that is so awesome?
Well, first, I guess we need to understand that 75% of our brain develops between the ages of birth and 3.
Wow.
And 90% develops by the time we're 5 years old. So that early education that we're giving these children is allowing them to enter kindergarten ready and really for beyond. So it's just these are critical years. We use something called creative curriculum, and that's basically using exploration and discovery as a teaching tool. It's interesting to children. It's not like they sit there with a book all day. In fact, one year, the kids went out at springtime, and they lifted up a lid that had been laying on the ground, and there were all these worms. So the teacher collected the worms and put them in a jar and brought them in, put them all on the table, and all the kids were looking at them and touching them. And she used that experience to teach them language skills. So they were describing how the worms looked and how they moved. They used reading skills because they were able to, she wrote the words down. They're slimy, they're brown. She wrote the words down so they could see the words and build reading skills. And then she was able to explain the parts of the worm. So we got science in there. They measured the worms with a string. So we got some math in there. And we even learned social skills because they learned that they had to take their turns and they needed to listen to each other and not get too excited. So just worms.
That's an entire unit on something that ordinarily you might go, pick up the lid, go, ew, cover it back up again and go on your way.
They had fun and they learned.
Wow. What kinds of things should a child learn? What kinds of things should they be exposed to when they're in that 0 to 3 time period?
They really, well, in addition to our creative curriculum, we have what's called a Healthy Habits for a Lifetime program.
Okay.
That allows the children to learn about healthy food, to learn why healthy food is good. They eat healthy food. They don't have hamburger and French fries. They have whole wheat turkey tacos or fish or broccoli, asparagus, avocado.
And they're eating this at JRC.
Yes, this is what they have for lunch. They have healthy food. They get 1 hour of exercise. We have
and this is even the little ones. This is
the little ones.
That's so cool. Okay,
and they also eat family style. So they're not in a cafeteria. They sit with their classmates and they eat at their tables. So a lot of kids don't get that anymore. Like, you know, I used to have family meals, but everybody's so busy that, you know, that probably doesn't happen much anymore where everybody sits down as a family. Well, they get that feeling that, you know, we're sitting down here and we're eating as our little family in our school. So it's important for children to learn all of this. And JRC doesn't just, they have a holistic approach where they care for their mind and their bodies.
What all ages do they serve?
6 weeks to preschool for the early education, and then up to age 12 for school-age kids. Before and after school, the bus will drop them off in the morning so the parents can go to work, and then it'll pick them up after school if they want, but it will, the parents can come. We're open until 6:30, so they can come after work. Right.
What qualifies a child to be able to come to JRC?
Well, honestly, any child can come to JRC. There are programs that will help pay for a child. So, which is really important because a lot of children can't go to these private preschools that and they can't afford it. So these families have a chance. These children, and we have children that their parents can afford it, but mostly we serve low-income families.
Are families on a sliding scale, or is it all free, or how do you pay, or am I asking something that I should be asking someone else?
Might be, I'm not exactly sure, but there are government programs and state programs that will, and it depends on your income level. And so, and I think there are different co-pays for different levels of income.
But it's available to all.
It's available to everyone.
It's so wonderful.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So now on the other side of the spectrum, and we've got a lot of sandwich generation people listening right now where they're taking care of their kids and they're taking care of their parents.
Right.
And aging parents can be such a concern. You want to honor them. You want to have these be wonderful golden years, ought to be golden. And sometimes it's a little rough. So JRC, once again, steps in with what?
Well, our seniors, if you walk in our adult day center, there isn't one senior sitting there doing nothing. I mean, they are always active, whether it's, we've got a pool table, we've got air hockey, we have Xbox bowling, we have crafts. We play bingo. They have a courtyard where they can go out and do raised gardening.
Oh, how great.
We have lots we take them on field trips. They get to go to places like Amish country, and they go bowling, and they go swimming across the street at the YMCA. Our seniors, we try to keep them as independent as long as possible in their homes.
That's happening more and more.
Yeah, and you know what? Some people are just lonely. I mean, and they make friends. Actually, my mom, when Dad died, he died in 2008, and she sat in her chair for 3 years. And I thought, if I don't do something, I'm going to lose her too. So back in 2011, I started a service group, and we wanted to find a senior facility that we could help. And we found JRC Adult Day Center back then. And I went home and I said, Mom, you have got to go. I know that you would love this, and you could help these people know that, just because they're up in age doesn't mean they should give up, that they can do things.
Right.
So Mom started volunteering back in 2011, and now she's 86. She's got macular degeneration, but she wouldn't give up. She took the keys away from herself, but she said, you know what? I cannot quit volunteering. So we got her on the ProLine bus, and they take her to what she calls work. 3 days a week. She's been doing 3 days a week ever since 2011.
Karen, here's what I love about that story so much. It wouldn't dawn on her as an 86-year-old that she would go to it to be served.
Oh, no.
She's going to volunteer and help these elderly people.
Oh, yes. And I've even asked her, I said, Mom, do you want to maybe go as a member instead of a volunteer? No, I think I'm doing a really good job as a volunteer. And you know what? I think I'll just keep doing this.
I love that so much. That is the greatest testimony ever. And it tells you, too, you're never too old, never too young to give, right?
That's right.
And aren't we happiest when we're not thinking about ourselves?
That's right. I mean, honestly, if, the late Rick Morenzi, I interviewed with him once, and I said, if you ever want to not worry about yourself or feel bad, just do something for somebody else.
Yeah.
Because it's amazing what it does for you.
I think we're wired that way.
We are.
We
I
seem to
think
be
we're
built-
here on
yes.
this earth to care for each other, not ourselves, because somebody else is going to care for us. The Lord's going to care for us.
Yes.
So, I just think we're here to care for others.
Yeah. That's so good, but you're just bringing to mind the fact that Jesus said, love God, love your neighbor as yourself. He's telling us that for our own good,
Right.
for our own well-being.
Right.
You'll be just in a better place.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So our board decided a couple years ago that they wanted to serve more children and seniors. So in March of 2018, we purchased the Myers Lake Ballroom, the former Myers Lake Ballroom facility. And a couple of years before that, our adult day center moved in one end of it. They leased space in one end of it. And when we were redecorating it to build a new adult day center, we even chose the colors in the rooms strategically because different colors do different things to people. So we had a designer who also had geriatric experience, and she says, okay, so we're going to put a soft green in this area. We're going to put lavender in this area. And we have lime green tablecloths.
For a reason.
For a reason. And for dementia Alzheimer's patients, it's like attention-getting color. So, and they can also distinguish their food. The white plates are not sitting on a white tablecloth because they could not, it would be difficult for them to distinguish a difference. So this way, we did everything.
Everything's got a reason that you're doing it that way.
We have a memory room that has things, tactile things that they can feel. We have an old rotary telephone. We have a workbench for the men. We have a bread making machine. We have a hamper full of towels, and they'll just go in there and fold towels. It truly, truly is a wonderful facility.
My goodness. And I can imagine the friendships that develop among the people who attend. And they're not staying overnight. They go back to their homes then.
That's right.
They come here to be with their friends and to socialize.
That's right.
It's have a nice day.
We don't call them clients. We call them members. We don't want them to feel like they're coming to a cold center.
Yes.
We want them to feel like they're in a country club. This is their club. And they are its members.
That is so cool. We are visiting with Karen Shackelford. She's from JRC. We'll be back after these words. You're listening to Our Community.